Hi. So I know you're all used to my rambling and waffling by now. I've popped on because I wanted to do a quick women in horror video with some books that I would recommend for anybody who's wanting to discover some women's voices within the horror genre. But I just received some, quite frankly, stunning, shocking, amazing news that my story Footsteps, which appears in the Diabolica Britannica anthology, which we put out last year on ebook to support the NHS, all the proceeds of it go straight to COVID research and helping our health system. Anyway, Footsteps, somehow people were recommending it to the Splatterpunk Awards that Brian Keane does, and I've just, sorry, I'm even more rambly because I am literally in shock. I've just received the news that it has gone through to the nomination stage alongside 6 other amazing stories, so I'm sure it doesn't stand a chance of getting any further, but I can now say I am a Splatterpunk Award nominee. There are no words to express just how amazing that is and just how it makes me feel, other than just completely and utterly grateful and thankful and kind of just over the moon. I voted for some of my own favourite books and stories from last year, including some of the Death's Head Press Splatterpunk westerns, which were just phenomenal, and they've obviously made it along with Tome and Juniper from Ross Jeffrey, which I'm so pleased about for him. Yeah, so I'm going to be even more randomly waffly because I'm trying to train my thoughts into something coherent, and I'm just, I can't say I'm speechless because I'm still speaking, but just... Anyway, right, shut up, pipe. Nobody cares about that. Right, so I am obviously a woman of horror, and I would like to tell you some other women of horror that I think that is a good chance to discover now and read now, but just don't do it just now. Do it all the time. Read women all the time. Okay, so, right. First thing I'm going to say is a West Country massive fellow author, Gemma Moore. Okay, Ben and I have just done a buddy read and buddy review video for this one. We both really enjoyed it, both gave it 4 stars. It's only a novella, so it's nice and short, and you can whip through it, and you will whip through it quickly because you want to read more, you want to know more about what's going on. I like in this, it had kind of like superhero vibes to it, X-Files, and a bit of the old like I Spit on Your Grave kind of revenge going on as well. Gemma is a fellow West Country writer, and she is just amazing. She does a lot of her own publishing and illustrating and all that kind of stuff, and she's just the nicest person as well. She is just wonderful. So read anything by Gemma Moore, but I would recommend this one because it's her latest novella, and it's the one that Ben and I have just read. I've got Dear Laura on the shelf to read at some point, and I've also got White Pines on my Kindle, and she does some amazing short stories as well. Make sure that you check out We Are Wolves, because that is the charity anthology that she was involved in, and all the proceeds go to it's a, I forget exactly and I apologise, but it's a charity for sexual assault victims or something like that, so something extremely important, and it's all full of women's voices again, so check that out too. But this is the one that I say start with if you haven't read Gemma, and I imagine you have anyway. Right, okay, next up is this, Salt Blood by T.C. Parker or Natalie Edwards. They are one and the same. Confused me for ages, but that's because I'm special. Anyway, this is fantastic, and I still remember October, November last year, this cover was popping up on all of the big booktubers, on all of their screens, and I was like, I want it. Look at it, just look at it. Don't judge a book by its cover unless it's gorgeous like that. Anyway, T.C. Parker, Nat Edwards is just amazing. I'm going to keep saying that, and I don't even care. I'm not even going to apologise. All of these women are amazing. Nat is a fantastic writer. She includes gay characters in her stories, which again is an own voices, obviously characters, which just makes them really authentic too. And let's, you know, I'm all for let's have as many different diverse characters and representation as possible, and just make it normal, because it is just, isn't it? Just do it. So this was really clever. I'm not going to say too much because I have actually submitted my 5-star review of this to Screen Magazine, which should be in the next one, not the one that's just coming out, but yeah, it's coming anyway. But it's kind of got this dystopian feel, this whole thing about technology and social media and how you can be judged by your peers on social media, which is fucking terrifying, and all that kind of stuff. But also this like old school like folklore stuff to do with the Scottish Isle and this horrendously weird but real monster that she found out about to include in it, and just brilliant. And I haven't sold it very well, have I? But it is brilliant. Nat's writing is akin to Jonathan Jan's. I know he's a man, but I'm saying that because whenever I read Jan's, I feel like I need a thesaurus next to me to understand what he's saying. And not in a pretentious way, but in a, you can tell that these are educated people and they write beautiful prose, but they intersperse it with like big words. You know, why say something small when you can say it much better? And this brain doesn't work like that, but Nat does. And her prose are just gorgeous, but not pretentious. Just you think to yourself, what's this? Someone who knows what they're doing. So thoroughly recommend anything to do with Nat. Since I'm on the subject of friends, read anything by Lou, because Lou is just, well, you know, people say, what, you know, should I take people's reviews when they're buddies with that person? Should I believe it all, or are you just saying it because you're friends? Well, take it with a pinch of salt, okay? I will give my friends the reviews that they deserve, and Lou Yardley is one of my very best friends and also a bloody brilliant writer, okay? I met Lou through her writing, through her books. I didn't meet her and then read her books. I read her, and it's the same with lots of my friends who are writers. But anyway, that's by the by. I recommend you read anything and everything by Lou, because she is amazing. And that's that. But this is one of my favourites because it's about werewolves, and we know that we like those. And look at the cover art on that again. I've got a ring light behind me, that's why everything's reflecting. So hopefully you can actually, oh, that's, can you see it there? I'm just covering my face, that works even better. Can you see that? Yay! If you're watching this soon, of course you are. I believe that it's still true. It was true yesterday, that Banished, which is huge, and Lou's latest, she's got it on sale for like 99p, and it's a whopper. It is massive, and that's her like fantasy, where she's doing all sorts of like making maps and things for it, so like a whole world building. That's what Lou's good at. Anyway, so I thoroughly recommend anything by Lou, especially when it's got hellhounds in it. Okay, so these are all friends of mine, and I'm just lucky to say that. But anyway, this is amazing. That's that word again, amazing. I need the thesaurus to find some synonyms, I think. Anyway, again, Kenzie, absolutely adore her. Very good friend. Hopefully we're actually going to meet up when I finally get over to Florida. But that's not the reason why I'm saying how amazing this book is. Yes, she is a really good friend, but also a phenomenal writer. This is also in the Splatterpunk Awards, and I hope it wins. I hope it wins in the best novella, because it is so good. So I love the Splatterpunk Westerns anyway. Again, I started reading them actually on recommendation from Glenn. Glenn said about Magpie Coffin last year and to read it, and I trust Glenn. He costs me loads of money, not only buying all his books, but all the books that he recommends as well. And he said to read Magpie Coffin. And I love all of that kind of stuff anyway, and I don't know whether it's kind of being British that is so different from our history, but the westerns and things like that are just so interesting. Make it a splatterpunk western, and it's just mind-shatteringly amazing. I've read quite a few of them. This one is, yeah, I'd say joint with, actually no, I've just finished 13 for Coyote as well, so anyway, but that's by a man, so I'm not going to talk about that one. So it is definitely one of the best of the series. Again, this one is quite a short one. Some of them, like 13 for Coyote, are whopping great big ones, but this is a nice short one. So this is called Red Station, and it follows a stagecoach that are going to stay overnight at this place, this boarding house. We follow the adventure that happens of Clyde. Who knew that women could be called Clyde? It's amazing. Anyway, and of course things don't go quite as we imagine they would do, and it's a splatterpunk western slasher written by a woman with a woman protagonist who is all kinds of badass, like Kenzie. So yeah, just thoroughly recommend this one. It is absolutely amazing, and I actually love the back of them as well. They're so cool with the wanted picture. Amazing. Right. This is one of the best books that I read last year. Those Who Came Before by J.H. Moncrief. Again, I don't know whether it kind of ties in because there is the Native American history is in here, and it's something that I found very interesting. Again, being a Brit and kind of just being able to see it from afar. You know, we touched on like the Battle of Little Bighorn and General Custer and stuff like that at school, and you know, within a week or so, that was it. We were done with American history, obviously, because we're Brits. But I find it fascinating, heartbreaking, and when it's told through this kind of medium, it is no less gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. And actually the horror that it was within this story is that what the Native Americans went through. And Holly doesn't paint anything with rose-tinted glasses. She says it as it is. This was absolutely fantastic. I love everything that she writes anyway, and again, she's a good friend of mine. But this is phenomenal, and it's very much a flame tree book. We see things through two people's eyes. There's a camping trip that goes very, very wrong, and we see things through the eyes of one of the survivors of that, and through the Detective Grey Eyes. So it's kind of got like police procedural stuff in it as well, which I always found very interesting. And then the Native American story that goes alongside it. Absolutely beautifully written, and again, thoroughly recommend anything that she writes, but this one in particular is just beautiful. Okay, I promise that I'm coming to the end. So it would be remiss of me, especially in my publicist capacity, so putting my publicist press agent head on, to not talk about Women in Horror Month, to talk about Women in Horror Month and not mention Candisha. This is our third volume that we've just released, the one that got away. We've finally had our author copies come to us, so Jill and I have been sending physical review copies out, and it's always amazing to see pictures of the book held in hands of our friends and booktubers and bookstagrammers and reviewers. So anybody that has received one, if you want to and are able to put a photo onto social media, then we do love seeing pictures of the book. And it's unbelievable how just a photo of somebody holding the book, or a photo on somebody's bookshelf or anything like that, really does get a lot of attention, and other people commenting and things like that. So that kind of exposure for us as a tiny female indie press is just, it's brilliant, and we really appreciate it. So I do have a story in here, and I have had some amazing feedback on it, which I really appreciate. I like to write things that have got little Easter eggs in sometimes, and there's some nods to a few people in there. There's some Boston references as well, because I absolutely love Boston. And I would love to know if you have read any of the stories in here, which ones that you like, and if there's because there's 30 different voices in here, 29 other women from all across the world, and I would love to know if you discover a new to you voice, an author in here that you would like to read more of their work. We love to hear things like that, because once upon a time my very first story was in a Candisha, and that was volume 2, and I've talked about in various interviews and things how from receiving that acceptance from Jill way back last year into Graveyard Smash, how we became very good friends and colleagues, and now I'm part of the press as well, which is just amazing. I've been asked about my inspiration behind this. I did a spotlight over on the Candisha website, and I always will say if somebody has inspired and influenced me, and the story in here is very much influenced by my own 2 favourite writers, Glenn and Hunter. So I'd love to know if you've read something of theirs, and then if you read this, if you see any similarities, that would be awesome to know as well. So okay, that's it. I would love to know if you have any other books by women authors that you would recommend to read at any time, but obviously during February we're able to give more of a spotlight and more of a focus on women authors, but you should be reading women all the time, of course you should. I have got loads more women books on my shelves as well. This was just a snapshot, just a few that I would recommend, but there's so many others. I'm currently reading another Kenzie, A Reception, which is a Nightworms and read along that Sadie's doing. I'm also reading Benny Rose the Cannibal King by Hayley Piper, and that's definitely a recommended read as well. I don't know why I hadn't read it before, because everybody has, and I don't know why I didn't know it was a Sasha. It's fantastic. I'm absolutely loving that. About halfway through that and about 80% through Reception, which is Kenzie, so it's bloody brilliant. So yeah, there's so many female women authors out there, and you should just try and discover a new to you voice, and then just dive into their back catalogue and read and recommend them to everyone, because that is the kind of exposure that is just priceless for us. So thank you very much for this long waffling video, and I'm off to now be more in shock and probably cry about my own nomination. Thank you. Bye.